Well, it was the first time the professionals from North America had played against the Russians, who claimed they were amateurs, but they were professionals. Most of them were in the army, and um, it was two different cultures, obviously, in society. And as we found out, playing the game of hockey, the Russians were a team that passed the puck backwards, that passed it all, and then try and keep control of the puck all the time, no matter where on the ice. And the Canadians were more north south, and they caught us unprepared and took the lead in the series, and we come back and won it at the end. So, but it was the start of North American professional hockey realizing that the Swedes and the Czechs and the Finns and the Russians and all those countries produced just as good a player as we did in North America. We were arrogant about thinking that we were better than them. We weren't. And they started coming over soon after that.
Do you, in that 8-game series, and you were on a line that was the difference in games 6, 7, and 8 with Ron Ellis and Paul Henderson. Do you remember at any point in the series that you guys as a group on Canada were at a crossroads and you could have gone one way or the other and you had to dig in?
That's a good question, Trip. I don't recall anything like that, but I think well, we got our asses kicked the first game, and then we battled back through the next two, and it was all tied up. We went into Vancouver for the fourth game and really got our asses kicked. And it was a really, I don't know, it was embarrassing to play hockey that bad, and we were supposed to be the best Canadian players. So I think, as bad as it hurt, it started unifying us into a team. That if we weren't going to be a team and play like a team, then we certainly weren't going to win when we went to Russia. Esposito had a big influence on that team, and it seemed to, by getting our asses kicked, it seemed to unite the Canadian public behind us, because for whatever reason, they really, really supported us after that.
Well, you got to be in your deepest valley before you climb your highest mountain. I have another question about the series. And again, this comes from the great Cato. And he wanted me to ask you about John Ferguson and his role as he was assisting your coach, Harry Sinden, in that series.
You don't win a series like that without really good coaching. And both John Ferguson and Harry Sinden were remarkably good. We had players from every team in the league who didn't like each other. In those days, you didn't like the players from Boston or the players from New York. You didn't get along. And now all of a sudden we're trying to be a team. And then we had players who weren't getting enough ice time or weren't playing, who quit on us. And the coaches, Sinden and Ferguson, kept them together. And I think, knowing Kevin, he's asking the question. I smacked a guy in the ankle and broke his ankle. And when I started getting criticized for doing that, it was years later. Nothing was criticized at the time, but years later. So John Ferguson stood up and said, "Hey, I told him to do it." I spoke with John numerous times, and I said to John, you didn't tell me to do that, John, but I appreciate what you're doing. You're trying to take the heat off of me. It was my own responsibility, and I didn't care.